वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। Hi guys. Okay, so we will start. So we will start from where we left last time. Did you guys get to see the video? I am so sorry I sent it like yesterday, but whoever were not able to attend last week, did you guys get to see the video? Okay, good. Then can you turn off the fan? 3 pe chalana. Lowest one. Okay, go faster then. Okay, so we are talking about, that this is a new chapter, right? We started chapter 3 where we got this information from, Krishna Bhagavan left chapter 2 saying that, you can, after, those characteristics of Sthita-prajna person, right? So he, at the end, he said, even if you get this knowledge of yourself at the end of your lifetime, you still will get liberation, right? That's where he ended that chapter 2. Now, the first confusion, or the first thing that came to Arjun's mind, that, hey, you know what? If the knowledge is important, then why I do the action, right? So that's where the confusion starts, and that's where the third chapter starts, where that's a karma yoga, and it is yoga of action, right? So then the first question he asked, that why are you asking me to do this work, this action, this karma, that go to fight, right? When knowledge is that much important, when knowledge is, getting this knowledge about self is that much important, then why do I do this, all the action? Why do you ask me to do all these things? Like for big people, I would say, why do I have to go to job? Why do I have to cook food for everybody? Or why do I have to clean the house? Why am I doing that? Why don't I just get the knowledge and run away from here, right? For students, you will say, why do I have to study so hard? Why don't I not do any action and just do, get the knowledge and be done with it, right? So that was the confusion where Arjun comes from. And then Krishna Bhagavan starts answering his question. From slok 3, he starts saying, why do we have to karma yoga? So first of all, he clarifies that, Arjun, it's not about doing just the karma yoga or jnana yoga. Karma yoga and jnana yoga is subsequential. You have to go through every one of them to get to the last stage, right? So how he is explaining that the karma yoga and jnana yoga, both is important. Jnana yoga is important to the person who already has purified mind. Karma yoga is important for the person who is just starting and doesn't have the purified mind, right? So that's where Krishna Bhagavan starts with explaining that you might be confused here. You might be taking as that they both are the same, but they both are not same. You have to do, math 1 to go to math 2. You cannot just take math 2 and not do anything. So that's how Krishna Bhagavan is explaining about, they both are important, and they both are, Jnana Yoga is good for somebody who already went through Karma Yoga, whose already mind is purified. They can go to Jnana Yoga directly. But until you don't purify your mind, you cannot. Now, as us who have, so many friends, who have all these family with us, it's not good for us to leave everything and go and sit and do the Jnana Yoga. For us, it's very important to get Karma Yoga. And I said the difference between Karma and Karma Yoga is Karma, all the action, right? Any action that you do, starting from beginning, waking up till sleeping at night, whatever action you do is Karma. When you connect it with God, then it becomes Karma Yoga. So always remember, when I talk about that your karma, it's always the action that you take. When we talk about Karma Yoga, means the action that you were able to devote to God, right? So that's what the difference is. Then Krishna Bhagavan also mentioned in next slok that without action, you cannot reach the liberation, or you cannot reach the moksha, nirvana. You cannot go there without action. So action is needed. Why? Again, in the next slok, he explains that why action is important for us, because even if we are sitting down, we're still doing our action. Because what's happening when we sit down, not doing moving, not doing any action, what's going on right now? The thoughts, right? The thoughts are still going. So the action is continue having. And why it is? Because the way we are built, the way God made us, the way God created us, we are made up of 3 gunas, right? So first is what? Tamas, Rajas and Sattvic. 3 gunas are in us. That's going to continuously keep moving, and they are come out of nature. Now nature, when we look around nature, it's always a movement, right? I explain it, the earth moving, sun moving, plants growing, flowers growing, coming and dying, everything is in motion. So when we came out of that, our foundation is the motion. So how can we sit stable? So action is important for us. Even by default, even if you think that I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to just sit and relax, you might watch TV, that's an action, right? Or I'm going to just sit and lay down. The thoughts will keep coming even if you want or not, right? So you want to keep doing action. It's going to be there all the time, right? So Krishna Bhagavan was explaining that part, right? Now, when we left last time, we talk about the person who thinks without purifying their mind, like how Arjuna is thinking, without even going through Karma Yoga, without going through the action. If he is thinking that, hey, let me go to the Jnana Yoga, what's going to happen to them? So Krishna Bhagavan gives a warning. Krishna Bhagavan says that if you don't do that, what happened to those people who directly goes to the Jnana Yoga? What they do? They actually start with, meditation, but their mind, the exterior body will say that, hey, I'm out of this world, I'm just, meditating, and this is Brahman, everything is Brahman. My real self is consciousness, I don't worry about it. But what's going to happen internally? The mind will keep thinking about the worldly object, and that person is a hypocrite. That's what Krishna Bhagavan give the definition of. So for Arjun also, he was thinking like, what would Arjun think? Like, oh, I wish I could have done that war. I wish I could have give them punishment. They were such a bad people. I wish I would be in palace. Though he is sitting and meditating or contemplating on the Jnana or self-knowledge, but he will keep thinking about other people and other things. So Krishna Bhagavan gives the warning too, that you can go directly to it, but then you will be very hypocrite, right? So last week, when we ended there, I asked you guys to come up with as many as example as you can to see what you do from morning till evening, your daily actions, how you do it and what you do it, and how can you connect with God, right? So tell me if you guys come up with any of those examples where you can give me an example that we can connect, like how we did it, right? I will give you one example that we already did. So when we eat food, right? So how can we connect God by eating food, right? So that example was, first of all, thanking God for giving us food, right? That we can eat food. Then thank you God for helping us eat this food so that we can, all these digestive things that God gave us. We did not make it. Nobody can make this body, right? Even if somebody tried to make it body, they cannot put it together. It cannot work as long as our body is working, right? So God gave all these systems to digest this food and make it in blood, right? That's surprising, right? So thank you, God, for doing that mechanism in our body. And then what it is, this tool that you gave me to use, the body, food will help me get that tool going to get to my purpose of reaching God, right? So thank you, God, for doing this. So everything gets connected to my eating food. Is not just eating food is not a task that I'm eating, not a karma. But karma yoga becomes when we start eating food by praying to God, saying, thank you, God, for giving us this food. And thank you, God, for making the food so we can digest it, making our body so we can digest it. And thank you, God, for this body, the food that given, so that I can use this body as a tool to reach to the purpose of reaching God, right? So that's how we connect everything with God. So you guys ready to share your examples? What you go? Sana, you ready? Okay, tell me.
When you play outside, you can like thank God for giving you a body. A body like arms, legs, so that you're able to play outside.
That is good. So when you are playing outside, you are actually exercising, right? So you are actually helping this body, this tool that God gave you as a body to make it healthy, so you can use this body for the purpose, right? The ultimate purpose we have. Good example, Sane. So Sane, so my question to you is, whenever you play, before you go playing, would you remember this to thank God about that part every time?
No.
No, but how can we make that as a habit? So think through that too, right? So that we can devote every action to God. So when we do the karma yoga, we want to devote every action to God. So even if we are going to play outside, we're going to say, God, I'm going for you, right? I'm devoting this to you by making sure that this tool that you gave me, I keep it healthy, right? So that's how we can think about when we go to play and devote that playing to God too, right? Okay, who else? Yes, Aisha.
I devoted like taking a shower to God, because just to thank him that I have the ability to clean myself every day. And
yeah, that's right? Because we want to utilize God's tool for long term, right? So we need to make sure we keep it clean, outside in. Shasha's part is right? When we think that God lives in us, would you make God live in a dirty place? No, right? What do we do when we do God prayers or anything? We clean the house, we clean the place where God, we put the God, we make it pretty, we make it clean, we put flowers on it, we do everything, right? When we do God prayers. When we say God live in us, then we need to make sure that we keep that God's house clean, right? This tool God gave us is his house, so we have to keep it clean, right? So great job, Sasha. What else? Yeah, Avika?
I devoted brushing my teeth because you can keep your teeth clean, so that if God lives in your body, then it's not dirty.
Yeah, it's the part of the tool, right? And thank God for giving us the hands to brush too, right? So everything connects with each other. So great job, Avika. What else? Risha, you want to go next?
Every day I can thank God for giving me this house and a roof to stay under.
Yeah, thank God for giving me a house, and somebody built it for us, right? So that's great too. Awesome job, Risha. Sia, you want to go next? Is that Sia who raised her? I cannot even see.
No, Sia can't come.
Oh, Sia can't come. Okay, you want to go next, Ansh?
Well, I wasn't attending I didn't attend the last week's Zoom meeting.
Anything that you come across saying how your action can be devoted to God? Any action?
Like when you're learning at school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when without a body, you can learn properly and get a job and things like that.
That's true, yeah. Learning is also, a tool that you can utilize for the purpose, right? Nishi is there?
Yeah. I use the example that whenever we eat, we can thank God for giving us food so our body can function.
True, very true. You want to go next, Sean?
I feel like the same thing as Sunday. I'm thinking of the same thing as Sunday. Like when
Be
you
loud so they can see.
Like when you go outside, you have to you can thank God because we get a body that we can use to do exercise. So yeah.
Utilize that too. Yeah. Okay. You want to go? Anybody? Okay.
When I go out with my friends, I can thank God for giving me a body and a mouth so that I can talk to them. I can thank God for giving a knowledge to make friends and have friends.
Have friends. Yeah, that's true. That is a big connection. I would say that when you live in this, we are talking about karma yoga is living in this life, right, where you have to do everything. You have to do worldly life, right, and then devoting action to God. So we will have friends. How we survive with the friends, how we connect with the friends, how we think about others, right? That's very important to think about in worldly life, right? In world you cannot live alone, right? There will be people. So how to connect with them, that also you would say you can devote that action that, hey, I'm connecting with another person right here, and how I'm connecting. Thank you, God, for giving this connection to me, right? So that's a very good point. Yeah. Krish, you want to say?
I mean, both of mine got taken. But,
come up with a third one.
Yeah.
There are so many actions we do.
Thank God for letting me learn this knowledge and giving me the mind and intellect so that I can do it, and then it can help me actually progress and start doing God's work in the first place.
Yeah. So God giving you knowledge, and you can retain it by mind and intellect,
right? So that I can
and utilize that too. Yeah. And the biggest part is, going back to your purpose, right? Are you utilizing those actions? Now, one thing I would tell you that we talk about most about the body, mind, intellect that we are using, right? I want to think about this, these examples that you give. Even if you, on that one example, if you devote that one action to God in one day, like every day, that would be the start of your journey of devoting God, right? One time you do it. So as Sane took, example of going outside and playing, Sean took that same example. So whenever you go outside and play, you devote that playing to God, right? That's where the karma yoga start, right? So I will tell you an example, like when we wake up in the morning, right? Let's start from waking up in the morning. The first thing we do every day is getting out of the bed. We are waking up. Now waking up, is it a big deal? Every day we do it, right? But how about when we wake up? What is the most important thing happens to us when we wake up? First of all, thank God for waking us up, right? We were sleeping and there is something that happened. You put the alarm or you put something that wake you up. Now in the sleep, do you remember that you are Risha? When you are in sleep, do you remember you are Risha? Do you remember, Avika, that I am Avika the whole sleep? You don't, right? So our memory goes away when we sleep. There is no memory that stays in our mind. Everything goes away. We don't know where we are, right? We don't know where we are sleeping. When we sleep, all through the sleep, we don't remember what happened with us. But as soon as we wake up, in few seconds, the whole memory comes back. Everything comes back to us. That yeah, I'm Risha, these are my parents, this is my house, this is my toe, everything comes back. So think about God mechanism, that magnificent mechanism that He put in our body, that every night when we are so tired, God gives us the place where we forget everything and we goes to sleep and take rest. There is no memory in our sense that comes. But as soon as the morning comes, what happened? The whole memory comes back, right? Doesn't that becomes like, it sounds like who put these whole organs together to make it that way, right? It's the person who created, the God who created this whole system of our body. Isn't it surprising? Like, every night we forget about everything, right? And we have a peaceful sleep, and then morning we wake up and the memory, everything is back in our mind. So, waking up is such an important thing for us in our life every morning. So when we wake up, we devote that to God. We said, hey God, thank you for waking me up. Thank you for giving me all the memories back, right? And thank you for this human life. First of all, biggest thing is you all got human life, right? I said we could be anything. We could be a tree, we could be an animal, but we got a human life. So that's very important, right? So thank you for giving me this human life that I can utilize for the purpose that, that I want to make sure that I can be yours, right? So thank you for starting from the morning. Then very good example Sasha gave about shower, right? Cleaning this tool that God gives me to use, right? So then that comes, then eating food, breakfast comes, though we thank God for breakfast, we talk about that. Then you go to school, which Ansh and Krish both covered that part. We go to school and we do what? We thank God for the intellect that you gave us. Thank God the mind that you gave us, right? And we can utilize that to our purpose, right? Then Reha gives the friends that we make, right? That Sean and Sunny talks about playing. So all these actions that we are doing, we can devote every single action to God, right? Now then evening comes when we do prayer to God, that's devoted to God. Then even at night when we are sleeping, we say, thank God for a wonderful day that you gave me. Now I'm coming to relax. So thank you God for giving this mechanism. So from morning till night, if you pick up any action, you can devote every single action to God, right? There is nothing that you cannot devote. Now, if you're doing a bad action, you cannot devote that action to God, right? That's where when we start this practice of devoting all the actions to God, so when you are doing something bad, what's going to happen? You yourself will not be able to do it, because you will say, can I devote this action to God? And your mind and intellect will say, no, you cannot. This is not a good thing to do. This is not a right thing to do. Then what's going to happen is you're not going to do that action, right? So Karma Yoga is devoting every action to God, but also it helps you choose the actions. What actions you could do, what action. If there is a bad thing that you have to say to your friend, or if it is bad action or bad game that you have to play, would you say, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to devote this to God? You yourself will say, no, you cannot do that, right? As soon as your mind will say, your intellect will say, you cannot do this, devote this action to God, what's going to happen is you will stop doing it. Hurting anybody, right? If you go and you are in fight and you feel like, oh, I need to hurt this guy, you will say, hurting somebody, well, can I devote this action to God? You cannot. Then what's going to happen is you will say, no, I will not do an action that I cannot devote that to God. So you need to make sure you cannot just say, okay, I'm going to hurt, let me devote this punch to God. Would you say that? You cannot, right? So what's going to happen is you will say, okay, no, I don't want to get into the fight. If you want to verbally hurt somebody, you will say a bad word. You want to say a bad word. But what's going to happen is that bad word that's going to come out of your mouth, would you devote that bad word to God? Because every action you are devoting to God. You will say, no, I cannot say that bad thing, right? So you will stop yourself. You will say, no, I cannot say these bad words, because every action of mine goes in the nature and it stays there with the God. So why would I say bad things? Like Sasha says, I want to clean the body for doing the God's work. Same way I need to clean my mind and my intellect to devote it to God. So you have to make sure, guys, it's just not devoting every action to God, it's also making sure you choose the right action. Because whenever this question will come, you will all automatically will not do the bad things or wrong things. You will automatically come to the right path, right? So that it's very important to start thinking. Now I will tell you one thing you have to remember this thing. Whatever examples you give, make sure even that one example you devoted to God, it will be a lot for you to get to start this this journey, and then see how God helps you in everything, right? This might turn off, so guys, we will back enroll if it get disconnected. I need to tell you an example that one football player, Demario Davis. Anybody know him?
Lee.
You know him? Anyway, okay, he is in New Orleans football team. So what happened is, he came up with a headband what says a man of God, right? He put a headband on September 22nd. He played a game against who
This
was
year?
the team?
Was it
Seattle.
This year?
This year.
Seahawks?
Seahawks, Seattle, yeah. So he put a band on his head which says man of God. Now what happened is NFL put a case on him saying that, dress code, he did not come in the right dress code, right? Because you cannot do personalize any messages on your t-shirts or any helmet, or though that band was inside his helmet all the time in the game, but he was wearing that band, it says man of God. They penalized him, and the first penalty is $7,000, right? So he got penalized for $7,000, but then he went and he appealed for it. Well, he said that I did not know that there was a rule about this, I don't know how to do it. So then he appealed for it, but then what happened is, when he appealed for it, everybody actually supported him. So everybody supported him about saying that it was just the God's name on there. It was nothing that he violated the uniform policy of NFL. So how much he got supported by everybody, that his penalty was taken off, right? They actually declined the penalty, but what he did it, I want to read it, like what he said. It's such an amazing thing that he said about that. But before I tell him what he said, he started selling that, man of God hairband, or children of God, women of God, all these things, and then whatever money came out, he gave it to the charity, right? So he gave it to the charity of a hospital, a Christian hospital, which was in his hometown, Mississippi. So now think about it. What he said is very important. He said, of course, you don't want to be penalized or fined. Nobody wants to lose money. But I think every time or any time that I think it's gonna disconnect. Let me read it after it gets disconnected. No, it did not. Okay. So he said, I will read it again. So look at the words he said. Of course, you don't want to get fined. Nobody wants to lose money. But I think every time that the conversation is about God, it brought up, especially in these times. I think it always a positive or silver lining. If he cannot, somebody actually came in. Okay. If he cannot get glory from it, what's going to happen? I think he can get glory from it, whether I personally wear it or I don't wear that headband. It doesn't matter. So he always going to be in control of whole situation. We are still good, right? So what he was trying to say, that whenever God is in the conversation, like he said, man of God, right? So he was talking about his faith. So when the God is in conversation, it is never that there will be anything going to go wrong, right? So when the penalty was discharged, like, dismissed, and then he was able to give the charity so much money. He raised $40,000, and then he gave his $7,000 that he was supposed to give in penalty to that charity. So how God's work, whatever you do, it's going to get back to, it will go back to the, right thing. It cannot be, never can be wrong. So when he says this, that the conversation every time about if it is God, it will always bring positivity. It will always bring a silver lining. So think about that. He did a karma yoga here, right? And what's going to happen is one karma yoga gave him so much things to do, so many other karma yoga to do, that he could have given all this charity so much money, right? So whenever it's about a God and you do any work, it can never go wrong, right? Though he was penalized, right? People do come against him to give a penalty, but then the results are always good, right? So think about it. So any work that you're going to devote to God, it's going to always be a good work. It will end up being a good thing, right? You will never be unsuccessful when the work is devoted, when the action you take is devoted to God, right? So that's one big thing that you need to remember. Now, Krishna, I think we need light. Yeah. While we are on that topic, I will. Oh, jeez. I broke it. Okay. While we are on that topic, I want to tell you one more thing. Remember, when you are doing any action, actions are done out of 4 different things, right? So the first thing, that action are done out of fear. Because you are scared, that's why you're going to do any action, right? Okay, I'm scared that my teacher will punish me, so let me finish my homework. So you will do an action out of fear, first thing. So that's one thing. The second part, you go raise above fear. This is the lowest action, lowest level of action, right? Then the second action that you're going to do is you're going to do out of desire. That is the second level of action. You will desire to do something. Oh, I need this, that's why I'm going to do it. I need good grades, that's why let me do my homework, right? So there will be a desire of getting something. You're going to do an action, right? Then the third thing is you will do out of duty, which means I have to do it, I will do it. This is my duty. My little sister is crying and I have to give her the toy, or I have to give my iPad to her, then that's my duty as a big brother, right? As a big sister, I need to take care of my sister. My mom, dad are not there. Did she eat or did he eat the food or not? That as a big sister, big brother, I have to do that. So I will take care of it. So that's out of your duty, right? Or because I'm a good kid in the school, so because that's my duty to do the homework, I will do the homework. Krishu, it's the class going on?
No, I'm writing.
Yeah, but sit down properly.
I need to write.
Huh?
I'm writing.
Yeah, but sit down properly.
I can't write sitting like
Okay. So then the last one is the highest action that you do is out of love. Did you know that?
Yeah.
How?
Cause I'm just fasting.
Okay. So then that's the level of the action. What?
What does the second one say?
Second one is desire. Out of desire. Out of duty and out of love. Right? So what happens is when we do an action out of fear, are we interested in doing that action?
No.
We don't want to do that action, right? We are just doing it because we are scared of something, right? Out of desire, because we have desire that we would like to do it, right? But then desire changed too quickly. would we like to continue doing it later on? No, right? Because desire went away. I don't want to do it anymore, right? So this is a short-term action that you do for as with the desire, right? Then duty. If this is duty, if it is my responsibility, I do it. Though if I have interest or not, I will do it because it's the duty, right? So you're going to continue doing that until that duty, that responsibility, you keep it in your hand, then you will do it, right? But out of love, that action take place, what's going to happen?
You want to do it and it'll never change.
Yeah, it'll never change. Yeah.
It will never change, right? You will always want to do it. It's going to always be there and you will love to do that part, right? As you know, you see that if you love a subject, band ho gaya Raja.
Some weird buzzing sound coming from the neighbor's house.
Okay, I will just give you a minute for everybody to come in.
Can you stop taking your time, please? Thank you.
Okay, everybody is back. So we are talking about out of love. When we do out of love, that's the highest action, right? So make sure when we connect with this, that every action that you take place, think about it. Are we doing it out of fear? Then it's not long lasting. It's going to stay until we are scared. Then it will go away. After desire also, until we have desire, we will do it, right? Out of duty, then also until we have duty, we will do it. But out of love, it will never go away. Until we have love, it's not going to go away. So always remember that when we devote any action to God, it should be out of love. Like the karma yoga should be out of love to God, not fear of God, not that we have a desire about anything. That's why I need good grades, God. Let me do all the action and devote you until my exams are there. As soon as my exams are over, I will stop devoting the action to you, right? That's not going to work. Then if we do it because of duty, it's my duty because God gives me everything. It's my duty to thank Him. So I'm going to thanking Him. That will not last ever long. Karma yoga will only go beyond the time that we have if the action is out of love, right? So that's bigger thing to remember all the time. We cannot just do action by all these three mean. It has to come to the level, highest level, the level 4, to give it to the God, to devote it to God, right? Okay. And the last thing I want to tell you about this topic is, one thing is that when we do karma yoga or any action, that we want to make sure that we are thinking about it before we do the action. There are a couple things that we have to keep in mind, right? The first thing is expectation. Right? In karma yoga, expectation should be, there should be no expectation, right? The expectation should not be there when you do karma yoga. When you do karma, there will be always, the expectation will keep coming. But if you have to translate from karma to karma yoga, this should go away. And how this should go away? Like, I went and I gave a smile to my friend. I'm expecting a smile back, right? I will expect that if I smile, that person should smile back. Now what's going to happen is, if that expectation is there, if it went against the expectation, then what happened? My smile that I devoted that action to karma yoga, I I would not devote because now I'm upset that she did not smile me back. I expected that, it did not come back. If you also respect, you expect that, right? I give respect, the other person should give respect to me, right? That if I have to achieve a goal, I need a reward, right? That's expected. When I am doing some work, there should be a reward coming to me, right? If you remember, we read in chapter 2 that you do every action, but you don't look, or you have no control on what? Results, right? Yeah, Sunny, what were you saying? Results, right? Yeah. So you don't have control on the results or on the rewards that you're going to get. So all the actions that you take should be no expectation. That you have to keep in mind. Because if you start expecting, then it doesn't become karma yoga. Then it becomes regular work, right? So any action, whenever you are doing it, so it has to be out of love, right? Then it should have no expectation. That thing becomes karma yoga. So if you look at formula here, it says no expectation plus, let me see. Instead of 1, I'm looking no expectation plus out of love, all actions become karma yoga. So that's the formula when you do karma yoga. No expectation, action out of love becomes karma yoga, right? So one big learning out of this today's discussion, and I'm very glad you guys came up with all the actions that we regularly do in our daily everyday life, right? And you came up with all the examples, so that was awesome. What I want you to make sure that you understand that try to start doing that in practice. Bring it in practice. Now, how would you do it? That one time you remember yourself, or even if you want to write the notes on your, on your wall, write that, hey, remember to devote all the action to God, or something like that. You want to put a reminder, you want to put it on your phone, you want to do anything, just start with a reminder to yourself. And when you start doing it, then it's going to keep coming in your mind again and again. Any action you will do, it will come in your mind. Should I devote this action? How should I devote this? And new ways will come in your mind how you can connect with every action with God, right? So that was, as we can now start going back to our thing. One thing I remember, let me tell you how Krishna Bhagavan was explaining. So, everybody, lot of saints and all these pandits translate Gita in their own way, right? They translated Gita differently. It's very close to each other, but they all said their own views on every shlok, every different shlok. So there was a saint named Madhusudan Saraswati, right? He was non-dualist and dualist both. He was like when it was needed as a non-dualist, he actually approached non-dualist way, where non-dualist is where there is only one consciousness. Dualist is there is a God and there is a part of consciousness that's we are, right? So there are two different ways of studying Vedanta. So Madhusudan Saraswati, when he did the translation of Gita, he introduced chapter 3 Karma Yoga in one sentence. So I'm going to tell you the Sanskrit version of that one sentence, and I will tell you the translation of it in English. But look at that, how he introduced chapter 3 Karma Yoga. What did he say? So he said, Tathahi. Then he said, to explain further, the chapter 2 is finished. Now he's saying to explain further to Krishna, to Arjun, Adyo, at the beginning, Nishkam Karma Nishtha. practice of karma yoga, unselfish action, dedicated the unselfish action to God. When we do karma yoga, then what happens? So then tatha, then next, antakaran shuddhi. Internally, antakaran means internal, the man. The antakaran shuddhi means the clarity of our mind, that purity of mind comes up. So he just said that when we start, after this, what Krishna Bhagavan said, he explained, when we start nishkama karma, means all the work that we do. Karma is work, right? Nishkama means without any expectation out of it. So that means karma yoga. When we start doing karma yoga, means when we start doing all this action and devoted to God, what happened? Antakaran shuddhi. Antakaran means all my internal mind and intellect become purified, right? Then he continued the sentence, it's a long sentence. Tatha, thereafter, when we start doing this karma yoga, then what happened? Shama dama adi sadhana purushava. We develop those fourfold qualification. Now, what are the fourfold qualifications that we get for getting to the Jnana Yoga? So let's start with
Vivek.
जोर से बोल राजा, so everybody can
Vivek.
Vivek, right? So what is Vivek?
Knowing the difference between real and unreal.
Knowing the difference between real and unreal. Second, Vairagya. What is Vairagya?
Dislike of unreal.
Vairagya is dispassion
Dispassion.
of non-eternal thing, non-real thing. Dispassion about non-real. What is the third?
The first one, Shama.
Sixfold disciplines.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Yeah.
First
First,
one, Shama.
Shama is what?
Control of mind.
Okay.
Dhamma.
Dhamma,
It's control of the senses.
control of senses.
Titiksha.
Titiksha, spiritual fortitude.
Uparati.
Uparati, withdrawal from enjoyment.
Samana.
Samadhana.
Focus.
What is focus?
Like, yeah, focus. And
Yeah.
Shraddha.
And Shraddha?
Faith.
Faith. And what is the fourth
And
one?
then
Mumukshitva.
Mumukshitva. What is that?
Strong desire for freedom.
Strong desire for freedom. So all these fourfold qualification, if you have not written down these ones, we need to write it down. Okay, so Krish probably, or Sean, if you have write it down, just take a picture and I will post it in the group. So you guys all can write these fourfold qualifications. So what happened is, now you have done karma yoga, purification of mind, then all these fourfold qualification comes to you, right? So then it comes, then what happens? So then he says, sarva karma sannyasa. After you achieve this, you give up all the practices. Now what practices he is talking about here? Whatever karma yoga you practicing so far, right? After you get this qualification, what do? You give up all the actions. Give up all the actions means all these rituals also you give up. Means all these puja, all you do, karma yoga you do, you all give up. Now, while you give up all these actions, what do? You replace them by learning Vedanta. You go to the knowledge. You start learning Vedanta by doing Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam. You remember that part? You start doing that. You start inquiring about self, right? So you start doing that. Then what does he say? Then what happens? Tato. After that what happens? Vedanta Vakya Vichara Sanhita Bhagavat Bhakti Nishtha. Then what happens is, you start doing Bhagavad Bhakti, means you start devoting, your devotion to God starts. Really, very strong devotion to God starts, and you start inquiring about Vedanta. Then what happened? Tatha. After that, Tattva Jnana Nishtha. All the clarity comes. So clarity of your knowledge comes, and then knowledge stays with you, right? It doesn't go and come back, go and come back. In Gita class, I have knowledge, but as soon as I go outside, the knowledge goes away. That doesn't happen there. Then, the result of that what? He said, Tasya Phalamacha. What is the result at the end? It says, Trigunatmika Avidya Nivritti Jivan Mukti. What does that mean? Eradication of the ignorance. Ignorance is what? all these three gunas, all these appearance that comes in front of us, all these get disappeared. And then what happened? At the end, Jivan Mukti means you get liberation, you get moksha. So that's where the moksha comes at that stage. Then he says that after, then prarabdha karma phala bhoga pariyam. Prarabdha karma, until you have those karma that you are already born with, until that karma doesn't expires, you live as a Jivan Mukti, means living, freedom while living. So you got moksha while you are living. You are in this body, but you are still living until your prarabdha karma is over. As soon as your prarabdha karma is over, what happens? Tadate cha deha mukti. Then you get liberation without the body. Means the body goes away and you are liberated. So he gave such a big sentence to just introduce Karma Yoga. So how important the Karma Yoga is, he shows that it is the preliminary action. So if I say this whole sentence together in Sanskrit, look how it sounds. Tatha hi ado nishkam karma nishta, tatha antakaran shuddhi, tatha shamadama adi sadhana purusha, sarva karma sannyasa, tato vedanta vakya vichara sanhita bhagavad bhakti nishta, tattva jnana nishta, tadat tasya phalam cha त्रिगुणात्मक अविद्या निवृत्ति जीवन मुक्ति प्रारब्ध कर्म फल भोग पर्यंतम तदेतन च देह मुक्ति. This is the whole big sentence that he just explained to start the Karma Yoga, right? So you got understanding that how important the Karma Yoga is to do if we have to go to the next level, and if the ultimate goal is moksha, freedom, then we have to go through this whole process that he explained in one sentence. The whole Vedanta is explained in one sentence, right? So okay, let's go to the shlok that we were doing. I think we were on 7th.
7. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody has 7 shlok in front of us. We will just read the shlok. I know the time is over, but we will at least go. You guys open your book, guys.
What are we
8? I did not explain, I think 7th.
Yeah. So should we just read it again?
Yeah, and then we will start again. Okay. You guys are ready? You all know where the shlok is? What page number? Anybody know wants page number?
136.
136. Okay. Awesome. Come on.
यस्त इंद्रियाणि मनसा
ना थोड़ा जोर से और थोड़ा धीरे, मतलब slow in the process.
यस्त इंद्रियाणि मनसा
यस्तेन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यावर्तेऽर्जुन
कर्मेन्द्रिये
कर्मेन्द्रिये असक्तः स विशिष्यते. Together. यस्तेन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यावर्तेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रिये कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते. So in the previous shlok he says that he explained who are a hypocrite, right? Who from outside shows that they are meditating, but inside the whole worldly thing is going on, right? Outside we learn Gita, and then inside we think about all the worldly stuff, right? So that's where the problem comes. Now on the contrary, on the other hand, God is explaining this thing. The one who controls all their organs with their mind, right? By the mind performing the Karma Yoga, that person excels in doing the Karma Yoga. So what does now it means? So he said the mind, when all the other organs are controlled by the mind, Now remember, we are talking about mind, purifying the mind by doing karma yoga. Mind doesn't default come purify, right? When we are born, it doesn't come default purify. We have to work on it to make purify mind. With this purified mind, if we control all the organs means external and internal also, right? We are not just talking about all the external organs like eyes, looking, ear, hearing, nose, smelling. We are not just talking about those external organs. We are talking about the inside, the thoughts and everything coming, right? If the mind controls all the organs, right? And we do the karma yoga while doing that, controlling the organs, that person excels to the next level, right? So he's explaining the process. The person who goes directly to do the Jnana Yoga, they cannot excel because their mind is not purified. But with the purified mind, if we go, then we can excel to that, right? So that's what it says. We will explain the 7th shloka again in next class. We will start from 7th and then we will go to the next one. Now, next Sunday, we will not have a class. Okay, guys? So, good for you. Nobody's happy. Okay. So, next Sunday, we don't have class. We're going to meet not next, but the following Sunday. Okay, guys? Let's close it now. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kaushachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Para Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.